Hey all, here OS Reviews. You're watching our hands-on review of the YG200. This is a mini LED projector by the same company that made the YG300 from last year that was really popular. As a quick refresher, this is what that previous version looked like. So this new model really just improves on the outer shell and the design. It's rounded off now. It looks more like a retro throwback product, kind of cool to display on a desk maybe. It really is super compact. However, this is not a Pico projector. It's still using a traditional LED bulb, so it doesn't get quite as bright, but it still is super affordable, retailing at under 50 bucks. So this is more meant as a novelty item, more for kids to use, for occasional video watching, not really meant as a serious home entertainment projector or for presentations because, again, it's not super bright, and also the native resolution is still relatively low. That said, it still supports devices through HDMI, so it can input sources at HD resolution and just outputs it at slightly lower res. It can be projected up to 60 inches on a flat wall, and this is what the packaging looks like. It comes in a few different colors from yellow. The version we have here, I believe, is blue. Like they say, it really is a cost-efficient projector, so not really meant as a HD quality unit, more for kids to use maybe in their bedrooms, to have just a larger screen to watch some occasional videos here and there. In the packaging, we have the projector itself, which we'll take a closer look at in a second. We also have a quick user manual here that documents how to connect devices to it. It comes with a free HDMI cable, which is a nice little bonus, a standard full-size HDMI to full-size HDMI. We also have a RGB cable in case you don't want to use HDMI, so you can connect a DVD player or an older analog device. This is the power supply. Certain versions will come with a built-in battery, but others will not, so you need to plug it in at all times. It just depends on the model that you pick up. There's also the remote control, which is very similar to something like an Air remote for an Android TV box. Going back to the design, it really is cute looking, and it reminds me of something from maybe the 70s or 80s with these really rounded off corners. It seems like something like a radio at first glance. So it really is an interesting conversation starter or an interesting gift idea maybe for kids in this holiday season. But anyways, here is a lens for the projector, and you use this little dial here, which is also round, very cute looking, to change the focus, which you do manually. We also have the speaker cutout over here. The top features a power key that you can tap on once to turn it on. You can also adjust the style to change the volume, which is interesting. These are things that you can also access using the remote, but you can control things like going left and right. You can change the source, whether from HDMI to micro SD or USB. If you have something that's loaded on a memory card, you can insert it and the projector can play it back directly. And there's also a back button. All the accents here are in the same color as the other parts, including blue and brown, just like the switch, so it does have a good amount of attention to detail. It can also be powered using a standard micro USB, which is very cool. So just like the previous mini projectors, the YG300, you can just use a power bank to power it on the go without having to use a proprietary adapter. So very interesting choice. There's also a standard 3.5mm auxiliary port if you don't want to use the built-in speaker, AV for the RGB, infrared for the remote, and on the bottom we just have some rubber feet that prevents it from sliding around, in addition to a standard tripod mount if you want to put it at an elevated angle for watching back your videos. So overall, again, the construction quality, not bad. It's plastic, but it doesn't really creak or cringe and feels reasonably good. Seems like it's a polycarbonate build, and overall just looks very cute and attractive. As a quick size comparison, here it is next to the YG320 that we reviewed just a few months back. The YG320 is by the same manufacturer as the YG200 here. It is a little strange that they're going backwards in terms of naming. This newest model, again, is the 200 series, when the ones that came out last year were the 300 series. But anyways, this was a slight upgrade to the original YG300. Also has a very similar size, and native resolution is also exactly the same, just a different outer shell design, as you can see there. Here it is next to a true Pico projector that we just reviewed by Avamo, but both are still going to be really portable for just putting into a pocket or a backpack. Here it is next to a standard 6-inch phone, so you can get an idea of really just how small this thing is. Alright, so we have the projector plugged into power, and if you listen very closely, that's basically the fan noise that it produces. The screen size is roughly 40 inches right now, and of course we can see there's not a ton of detail. Text is okay in terms of legibility, but it does have much more fuzziness around the corners, so you know, focusing the dial here seems to make the center sharp, but some of the edges are still a little bit on the blurry side. Definitely not going to be a replacement for your expensive laser or DLP projector. Again, really is meant as a novelty, as a toy, since the price is super affordable. But again, if we zoom all the way in, we definitely notice, again, that pixelation. We can notice that, but from far away, it actually looks, I would say, okay for things like some quick images or cartoons that kids would want to watch. And now we have all the lights completely turned off, and this is the best quality that you're going to get, basically. Again, turning the dial that is built into the power on-off switch also changes the volume level, which I do like. I think it's a pretty clever touch, and we can cycle back and forth just by tapping on the keys on the top of the projector to go through the various features. So let's go over to the HDMI and try that. Alright, so the camera is now sitting directly on top of the projector, and this is what it looks like when connected to a computer. So definitely a lot of pixelation. Again, fine text is not going to be very legible, which is why for business situations, presentations, it's not going to be an ideal fit. So here's an example. In New York Times, also similar to, let's say, PowerPoint, slideshow, Word, or Excel, you can't really make out the words very legibly unless you do a lot of pinching in and zooming in, and then maybe you can do a little bit of reading. But at the 100% scale, it really is difficult to make things out. But for videos, it actually is not that bad. It still shows off colors pretty well, so it still is enjoyable enough for some quick clips, maybe on YouTube or a DVD movie, something like that, as you can see. And here's just one more sample of a YouTube clip that we recorded previously. Again, for watching some quick clips in the dark, it still is decently enjoyable, at least for kids. Again, things like cartoons and quick movies here and there is perfectly fine. It's just for making out text, it becomes a lot more difficult and a bit of a struggle. But that's pretty much it as far as our hands-on review of this YG200 mini LED projector. It's, again, by no means a outstanding resolution or outstanding performer, but for the size and for the cost, it's decent. And again, keeping expectations relatively low, it does look pretty cute and attractive, and it can be powered using micro USB, which I think is fairly unique, and has a full-sized HDMI port, which can connect to consoles, computers, anything really that you would want to. You can find out more details in the links down below, but for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the YG200 Mini LED Projector.